Beano kids vote for #1 gag. The Beano asked 2,000 children to name their top rib tickler and found the old ones were still the best ones. The seaweed gag was #1, you'll hear that in a minute, closely followed by the age-old favourite, what do you call a blind dinosaur? And Pat's going to tell you that in a minute. The research also found 90% of kids reckon they are funnier than grown-ups, 33% picked up the best one-liners at school, 25% thought their mums told the worst jokes, and 40% said their dads made them laugh the most. The poll was done to launch the Beano's Joke Contest, which aims to get primary school classes to send their best gags to beano.com/jokes between April the 1st and May the 1st. Mike Sterling, editorial director at the Beano, said, The hunt to find the UK's funniest primary school class is on.
And now the top 20 funniest jokes, the kids' version. Why was the sand wet? Because the seaweed.
What do you call a blind dinosaur? Do you think he saw us?
What did the policeman say to his tummy? Freeze, you're under a vest.
Doctor, help, I feel like a pair of curtains. Pull yourself together then.
I'm totally lost. Oh, there it is, yes. What's the latest...
No, fastest.
What's the fastest vegetable? A runner bean.
What do you get when you cross a snowman with a vampire? Frostbite.
What's brown and sticky? Answer, a stick.
What do you call a blind deer? No idea.
Why should you be careful when it's raining cats and dogs? You might step in a poodle.
Do you want to hear a joke about pizza? Never mind, it's too cheesy.
Oh, dear.
Why is 6 afraid of 7? Because 7, 8, 9.
Knock, knock. Who's there? Boo. Boo-hoo? No need to cry, it's only me.
What happens when an egg hears a joke? It cracks up.
What's the best time to go to the dentist? 2:30.
And we are still cracking that joke whenever we ring go, what's black and white? Black and white, black and white. A penguin rolling down a hill.
What do cows do for entertainment? Oh, sorry, where do cows go for entertainment? To the movies.
Doctor, I keep seeing spinning insects. Don't worry, there's a bug going round.
And what do you call a tiger at the North Pole? Lost.
What do you call a pig that knows karate? A pork chop.
How do footballers stay cool? They sit down next to their fans. I like that one.
Well, if you're not screaming and rushing out to put the kettle on, we'll leave the Beano jokes there. Oh, the old ones are the good ones. After that excruciating experience, I think it's time for us to go home.
And leave you in peace.
So we'll be back in March, and hopefully Mary will be with us again then. So from me, Peter Lynskey.
From me, Pat Fearon.
And me, Hilary Lynskey.
We wish you goodbye and a pleasant spring.
Yes. Bye. Bye.
Bye.
Weekly Newspaper number 1872 for Saturday the 9th of February 2019. Our technician today is Margaret Campbell, and your readers are in this order: Pam Draper, Pat Fagan, Mike Brown, Anita Willets, and myself, Pam Cottrell. Lighting up times are from 5 p.m. to 7:40 a.m. And the travel, there's quite a lot of things happening on the rail, on the Northern Rail, because they've got platform upgrade work and various stations are being closed and replacement bus services. Particularly from Monday the 11th to Sunday the 24th, there'll be rail replacement bus services between Formby and Moorfield stations. And there's other ones going on. So if you're travelling on the Northern Line, maybe it's worth checking with Mersey Travel just to make sure that there aren't any problems on the line that you're doing.
Women and
Now,
girls
over
to
to our
benefit
first-
from £74,000. Hundreds of women and girls from across Merseyside will benefit from £74,000 from the first round of funding of the Merseyside Women's Fund. Established by the Community Foundation for Merseyside, small grassroots charities and community groups have received between £5,000 and £10,000 from the Merseyside Women's Fund to provide services for women of all ages and backgrounds facing issues such as domestic violence and abuse, mental health and well-being, confidence, aspiration, self-belief and resilience and social isolation. Decisions were made by an independent panel and the fund was significantly oversubscribed. Community Foundation for Merseyside Chief Executive Ray Brooke said, "We are delighted to award the first round of funding from the Merseyside Women's. This funding will enable grassroots charities and community groups to run amazing projects that make a difference to the lives of women and girls who need it most." The 8 projects being funded include Women's Health Information and Support Centre, WHISC, has received £9,883 to continue running drop-in support sessions 4 times a week. Sefton Women's and Children's Aid has received £10,000 towards the Mirror project, raising awareness of the effect of domestic abuse on children. South Sefton Domestic Abuse Services has received £8,352 to deliver a programme of weekly support group sessions for women and children. Swan Women's Centre has £10,000 to recruit a counsellor and wellbeing coordinator to tailor support sessions for women. Knowsley Women and Girls Offering Support has received £6,710 to deliver a 12-week programme of workshops for women and young girls to promote self-confidence and self-esteem. Stray Cat Media has received £9,790 to work with 16 young women who have debilitating anxiety issues that profoundly affects their ability to participate in social opportunities. Home Start Wirral has received £9,903 to arrange and run weekly support groups for women with a perinatal mental health illness. Four Wings Northwest CIC has received £9,848 to build social networks for women and girls through the development of a happy news channel.
Stop Keeley and I've turned my life around. Amputee Damien Harper is looking forward to taking on his latest challenge, climbing Kilimanjaro, the world's highest freestanding mountain. The 50-year-old from Wiston, who lost his left leg to bone cancer when he was 17, said, "I'm doing it to hopefully show other amputees that amputation can be a new beginning and not the end." After having initially parked his amputation, the enormity of what had happened to him eventually caught up with Damien, and he suffered years of anguish and was diagnosed with PTSD. But as the Echo reported at the time, he appeared on the BBC 4 documentary Nobody is Perfect with photographer Rankin and Alison Lapper in November 2016. and a striking and empowering shot taken by the famed photographer turned his life around. With his newfound confidence, Damien learned how to fly, and now he's taking on the 5,895 meter Mount Kilimanjaro. He explains the trip is being organised by Limp Power, although I'll be raising money for the Amputation Foundation, which is based in St Helens. There'll be 17 amputees attempting to climb Kili this October. I'm now a trustee of the AF, and our main objectives are to give people self-confidence and self-esteem, which takes a hammering after amputation. We do we do this by paying for events that can help start to rebuild those things. Last year we took 18 amputees on an outward bound course into the Lake District. They had to come alone, and we had amputees from all over the country. We went sailing, high wire walking, cycling and swimming, and they also did some archery. It was a huge success, and we want to do it again, but with more people, hence the need for funding. We are also about to start funding courses to enable amputees to retrain for different careers if they can no longer do the job that they used to do. There are a host of other things we want to do, but we are still small and we need to grow. Damien adds, on a personal level, this work gives me immense satisfaction and pride, as I was staring into the abyss not that long ago, but have managed to crawl myself back. Well done, Damien. Now I want to help others in a similar situation. The work I'm doing with AF has given my life a purpose and meaning again. The Kilimanjaro expedition takes place between October the 3rd and October the 13th. And if you would like to donate and support Damien, please go to mydonate.bt.com/fundraisers/Damien Harper. Well done, Damien.
This is a piece from the Echo dated the 3rd of February. And there's a picture of Oglet Shore with the headline, "We'll fight to save Oglet Shore." And a very picturesque view of the river and a track leading through the woods. These stunning images of a secret Speak Beauty spot show why thousands of people are fighting to save it. Campaigners are set to brace freezing temperatures today to stage a protest at the coastal greenbelt area known as Oglet Shore. The land is owned by Peel Holdings, which has put forward a number of contentious plans in Liverpool and Halton, to Liverpool and Halton councils, that locals claim threaten the existence of the shore. The beach is well known for being one of Paul McCartney's favourite places to visit as a child, and is one of historic importance to Speke and Hale village residents, who have described this as the last truly rural area of Liverpool. Today's protest has been triggered by a recently submitted planning application to build a solar farm at a field in Oglet, which lies near to John Lennon Airport. Frustrated residents say the field is part of Speke's ever rarer greenbelt, which has been decimated over the years to make way for housing. The field is a popular spot for dog walkers and bird watchers, and many see the solar farm plans as the first step towards it eventually being earmarked for housing. But landowners Peel have staunchly denied this, saying it is too close to the runway to ever become a housing development. The developers have clashed with Save Oglet Shore team campaigners a number of times in recent months over a number of different proposals. In July, the campaign group held a protest over proposals to close Dungeon Lane, where Oglet is accessed via Speke, and erect a 2.9 metre paladin fence around about 60 acres of the green belt. Campaigners have also hit out at airport expansion plans, which propose removing the designated green belt status of Oglet Fields for a runway extension. The land fell into neglect in the 80s, but has blossomed in recent years thanks to mud banks washing away, revealing beautiful stretches of beach. Stunning images shared on social media have helped gather support for the campaign, and almost 5,000 people have signed a petition to save the land from potential development. Speke resident Lynn Moneypenny, who has organised the protest, which will be held at 1 p.m. at the top of Dungeon Lane, urged people to join her in stopping the assault on the sacred land. She said, "We need to show Liverpool and Halton councils and Peel Holdings how strongly we feel about this assault on our land, our air quality and the home of many varying species of wildlife such as owls, bats, foxes and birds, some of which are rare." But Peel Holdings have hit back with a robust and lengthy statement of their own. Defending their plans, an airport spokesman said, "It is important to highlight that the area of land in question is privately owned land, over which the public currently have no right of access, except for the existing Ashton Lane public footpath which leads to Bailey's Lane. Fencing off this area of land is not part of the solar farm planning application, but is, in fact, necessary in any event as an integral part of other works which are underway in order to meet Civil Aviation Authority safety requirements." He said this had previously been explained to representatives of Save Oglet Shore in some detail, adding that the public access would be maintained at all times as the airport would be building a new bridleway. The proposed solar farm would be located within the approved fenced-off area. He continued, "Halton Borough Council's revised local plan proposed that this area of land be safeguarded for airport uses, allowing only those activities and buildings demonstrably connected with the airport operations to be constructed and operated on the land. Housing schemes would therefore not be permitted in the future for this reason, and also because they would be too close to the operational runway, and that apparently is not allowed."
Patching up the Royal Hospital. The Trust spends £1 million plus on maintaining the old hospital as the city waits for its replacement to be completed. More than £1 million has been spent patching up the old Liverpool Hospital building, years after it was supposed to be demolished. As work resumes on the so far unused £335 million new hospital building, the strain of keeping the old building safe can be revealed. The Royal Liverpool and Broad Green University Hospitals Trust had expected to be free of its current premises by 2017. But after initial delays due to problems with the new building, the collapse of mega construction firm Carillion led to work grinding to a halt in January last year. Figures obtained by the Echo via a Freedom of Information request shows the Trust has budgeted £1.1 million for the 12 months from April last year, just for maintenance. That's a sharp rise from the £630,000 spent in the previous 12 months. The Trust has stressed the hospital is safe for patients, but refused to release the results of a risk assessment on the old building, citing prejudice to commercial interests. However, in an internal report, the Trust did say, in response to the Echo's Freedom of Information request, that the impact of the delay appears to be causing pressure on preparations to equip the new hospital. The report states, "The equipment strategy for the new hospital was also a balance between new equipment and transfer of existing equipment from the old hospital. The Trust has been working to an agreed set of equipment schedules that populated the new and transfer items. What has emerged during the delay phase have been a number of equipment risks that have resulted in a need to review the relationship between the two lists alongside increasing repairs. A list of key repairs or ongoing maintenance identified by the Trust included critical ventilation system in operating theatres, leaking flat roofs, faulty lifts and boiler components. Other problems included scaffolding around the crumbling Duncan building, being beyond life expectancy, and the inability to meet modern fire safety regulations. However, the Trust refused to release the full contents of the risk assessment and offered no explanation as to how commercial interests could be prejudiced. Chief Executive of the Trust, Aidan Keogh, said, "Our priority is to ensure the safety of our patients and staff. The current Royal isn't the best environment for our patients, but we're doing all that we can to keep vital systems and equipment operational and safe. We're spending over £1 million this year on the current hospital. Some of this money is being spent on modernising the lifts we use to transport patients, on ensuring we have vital spare parts on site for systems such as heating and ventilation, and increasing maintenance for important equipment and systems. We also ensure our teams are ready to respond quickly to any issues to make sure that the disruption to patients is kept to a minimum. While we remain very disappointed to have to remain in the current Royal for the time being, we are very proud of our staff and for all that they do for our patients in challenging circumstances. We would also like to thank our patients for their ongoing support. The cost of keeping the dilapidated building has been enormous at a time when the Trust faces huge financial stress. The Trust is expecting a budget deficit of £48 million at the end of the financial year, but has prepared for a backstop deficit of up to £53 million. Viewers across the nation were shocked at the conditions faced by staff, as depicted in the BBC Two documentary Hospital. Staff were seen struggling to deal with a flood relating to the fracture of old pipes, the 10th such incident at the hospital last
in the town
year.
where it was born. Some remarkable and awe-inspiring craft have come out of the camel-led shipyards over the years. Liners like the Mauretania, warships including the Ark Royal, and the nuclear submarines Conqueror, Revenge and Renown have all rolled down the Birkenhead slipway. But none was quite as extraordinary as the creation constructed by 80 keen apprentices this week in 1984. Vivid yellow in colour and psychedelic in design, it was an exact replica of the Beatles' Yellow Submarine, immortalised in song and film in 1968. The submarine was commissioned for the themed Beatles Maze at the Liverpool International Garden Festival, opened by the Queen in May 1984. The Beatles' Garden, one of 60 at the festival, was in the form of an apple-shaped labyrinth. It included the bronze statue of John Lennon, which now stands at Liverpool Airport. Built of steel, the submarine was 51 feet long and 15 feet high. It was assembled by apprentices employed on the Manpower Services Scheme at Monk's Dock. The submarine was then transported on the surface of the Mersey, not beneath it, to its new festival site home. The Queen and the Duke of Edinburgh were two of the thousands of visitors who enjoyed the view of the festival from the top of the sub. Twin spiral staircases led to a replica control cabin, complete with genuine submarine equipment and the bridge. When the festival site closed, the colourful craft stood for many years at Trevas Park, before being removed from public view. It appeared fully renovated at John Lennon Airport in 2005. Former airport boss Neil Pakey remarked, "Other airports have the Concorde. We have the Yellow Submarine." The song Yellow Submarine appeared on the album Revolver along with Eleanor Rigby. Yellow Submarine stayed at the number one in the charts for 4 weeks and won an Ivor Novello Award for the best-selling single in the UK in 1966. It became the title song of the animated film Yellow Submarine 2 years later in 1968. The movie's soundtrack also featured the songs Sgt. Pepper's Lonely Heart Club Band, When I'm 64 and Lucy in the Sky with Diamonds. The film, which told the story of the Beatles' battle with the music-hating Blue Meanies, was a box-office hit on both sides of the Atlantic.
In flats, and there's a picture here of Dealcroft on Menlove Avenue, which is quite a close friend of ours. A few people living there that we've known in the past, anyway. Mm-hmm. Elderly people living in a 14-storey Liverpool tower block haven't been able to get out of the building for 5 weeks because of a broken lift. And the son of one woman who lives in the Dealcroft tower block off Menlove Avenue in Woolton said people in some of the upper floors were relying on neighbours to get them food. Chris Fallon, whose mum lives in the block and is able to use the stairs to get out of the building, said the lift serving the odd-numbered floors had been broken for weeks. And he said that because people who couldn't get down the building for themselves had started to run out of cash, they were having to rely on borrowing to get the essentials. Guinness Partnership, the company which manages Dealcroft, confirmed that the problem with the lift to odd-numbered floors was reported to them on New Year's Day. The even-numbered lift has been working, but Mr. Fallon said it took a full flight of stairs to get to one of those floors. Mr. Fallon said, "There are people up on those floors who can't get down without it. It's not just an inconvenience. A lift working for 5 days would be an inconvenience." I spoke to people downstairs and they said they had been helping to get food for people. There are some people depending on others to get their food. A Guinness Partnership spokeswoman apologised last night and said that the lift should be working again by today. She said, "We would like to apologise to customers at Dealcroft for any inconvenience caused by the lift in the odd number of floors being out of service. The lift was reported as faulty on New Year's Day and our contractor attended the same day. Replacement parts have been difficult to source, causing unexpected delays. The parts have now been obtained and the lift should be repaired and returned back to service on Tuesday. The second lift to the even floors has been working throughout the period. We would also encourage customers to contact us if they need any help or support."